and Bob Chesney joining us now here on the Big Ten Network, first Big Ten Media Days. And Coach, I'm fascinated by your journey. I mean, lots of places that frankly Big Ten fans haven't heard of. Norwich University, Delaware Valley College, King's College, Salve Regina.
You never heard
Assumption.
of Salve Regina?
I have heard of Salve Regina. Okay, because I've spent some time in Newport, and you drive through the campus,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
But I'm saying a lot of Big Ten fans don't know about those places. They know about UCLA. I mean, it is, I believe, the most applied to university in the world. So when you think about all these different stops, all these places you've been at, and places we know, JMU and Holy Cross, and now you're the coach at UCLA, what do you think about?
Yeah, man, I think every day I drive in, I think about it, and I think about the honor and the responsibility that comes with it. And I think that, you know, you're building a team right now, right? And we're trying to make sure we're doing things the right way. And I think our guys certainly understand that. So as you drive in and enjoy the palm trees and the sun that is there every single day, it's pretty awesome. But at the same point in time, there's a big job that lies ahead, and I like the way we're attacking it.
You're the son of a coach.
Yeah.
You're the grandson of a coach.
Yeah.
You're the nephew of a coach.
Yeah.
So you've been around this game for all of your life.
Yeah.
What are the biggest lessons that they all imparted to you that you've taken into your career?
Yeah, well, I think that, you know, the connection, I see it different. You know, that was a day and age where, you know, coaching was different. You know, there was a physical nature to the coaching that occurred, you know, right or wrong, it just was what it was. And I thought that the way that, you know, they handled coaching someone really hard and then making sure they went back and found that kid quickly to fix it, right? And there's many situations that I remember of those guys being like, I hate your dad. And then 2 minutes later, he'd have a conversation, but he's the greatest guy. You know, that idea of just like coaching him hard and loving him harder, I think is, you know, something I saw from him. Be very demanding, don't be demeaning, and make sure that, you know, you're connected to them on a deeper level. Now, it's easier in the high school because it's the community. You know their parents, you know their grandparents, you probably know their brother and sister, but that same mentality is what I'm trying to bring, you know, here to Westwood.
Coach, one of the things I thought was really interesting and fascinating when you first got there, there was a viral video that went viral about the little things, making sure you're respecting the people in the program.
Yep.
Tell me where you developed that from and why it's so important when you walk into a new program to establish that.
Yeah, well, I think a couple things. First of all, I was that person, right? That when I was the head coach of a Division III school, you know, I was probably making $50,000 a year, 10 years into this profession. And at the same point in time, I was also the work-study coordinator for the entire athletic department. I also was the softball game manager, so I had to rake the fields and line the fields and do all those things as the head coach of a college football team. I was doing laundry, I was, you know, doing the inventory, and I realized there is no job that it all affects this program. And at that level, I was trying to do it at a level far beyond, you know, what everybody else was doing it at that level. I wanted to feel, you know, as close to a Division I football program as it possibly could. So that was a big piece, you know, for me of what I wanted to be able to do. And in that, you gain an appreciation for those people, and you realize very quickly that's someone's mother or someone's sister or some. So do not treat them like they're there to serve you, right? In the end, they're here to do a job to help advance and accelerate you, not to serve you. So make sure you know their names, make sure you connect with them, make sure you know their story. And I think when you have everybody in that building, you know, believing, you know, that the way they're doing it is the right way to do it, there's a lot of power in there and a lot of things can be accomplished.
To that, Coach, I mean, there's nothing easy about your journey. There's been no handouts, and yet you've earned this opportunity. And I'm curious, now joining the Big Ten, the premier conference in college football, there's a lot of great teams in this conference, and there's a lot of good football that will be played. How has your journey prepared you for the challenges that you'll face playing in this conference?
Yeah, so obviously, you know, the conference is different. The coaches are different. The caliber of player is different. The venues we'll play in are different. All those things are different, and I respect that. At the same point in time, I understand that what it takes to build a program, you know, being deeply connected, right, making sure that we are disciplined in every single thing we do and constantly be willing to grow and be better today than we were yesterday is what we got to do over and over and over again. And that's really what I want to do. I want to lead the nation in development, not only for our players on the field, but our players also off the field. I think that's important. Those two things got to work together. You can't just be a great football player and a terrible friend, student, person, right? They both have to be equivalent to one another, and I want to develop both of that within our program. And I think that's something that we're on the start of at this moment.
What's been a pleasant surprise for you as you've gone to this journey, being at UCLA, having more resources? Has anything kind of jumped out and said to you, well, okay, not that you've made it, but I can do more because I have the ability to do some other things? Yeah,
well, I think that you start to notice it. There's a lot of different things. First of all, our nutrition is phenomenal. If you came and had a chance to have lunch or dinner with breakfast, it's phenomenal. It really is like high end. You know, these guys have everything they need. It's not cafeteria food. It's something different. And I'm really proud of that as far as the nutritional side of things. But then you add in a little bit further. This alumni group is different, right? We said the most applied to school, but it's, I think, the fourth highest amount of living alums, and their support and their care and their desire to help you get whatever you need next to accomplish what you need to accomplish exists more so than any place I've ever been, obviously. So I think that's it. And I think as an outsider walking in, you know, you don't know, you know the blemishes, but you don't know the warts or the things that they've lived through prior to this, and it's irrelevant to me. It's about what do we got to do to go forward, and how do we make this the greatest place in the world to play football.
One of the big changes about this conference, even since I was playing, is the level of quarterback play in this conference has been elevated. And you get to now coach Nico Iamaleava, a guy that was a 5-star coming out of high school, extremely talented. It seems like he would fit perfectly in your system, too. What are your expectations for him this fall?
I have a lot of expectations for him, but I think he has even higher expectations for himself. And I think that, you know, I do think back to the year he had and getting in there with only 3 weeks or so left in the summer, having the preseason, and by week 3, your offensive coordinator, your head coach, everybody's gone. That's not easy, right? Here comes another wrinkles to this offense and new things you're trying to do, and it's like a survival from week to week, and I thought he did a really nice job. I think the growth he's had in this short period of time is phenomenal, but we all know it goes through this position, right? You get in these shootouts, it's this quarterback did that, well, what do we do next? Oh, we did it too, right? And then now here they go down the field, and here we go down the field, or we get a stop, and we can make something of that stop at that moment. It's a lot of it has to run through him, especially with protection checks and alerts at the line of scrimmage to get us into the best play, but I love the fact that he also can create when the play breaks down, and what he does and the threat he is with his legs is also something he's going to have to lean on at moments.
How important was it that you bring some of your own guys with you to develop this program and build a program?
Yeah, well, first, our coaching staff, you know, our offense, defense corner, and special teams corner, and strength coach. So the 4 people at the top of those different departments, it feels great that I don't have to worry about who they are as people and how do they coach. We went through it last year. We went 11-1, you know, and made it to the playoffs, won the Sun Belt Chance. So I know what they are like in pressure moments, when we're winning, when we're losing, and I know what to expect from them. I think that's important. But the players provide a really different, you know, scenario that I didn't realize until I left Holy Cross to go to JMU, and that's what I like to call the meeting after the meeting. You know, you have the regular meeting. We talk about wherever we want. I'm going to walk off the stage. You guys are going to talk about me behind my back and say whatever you're going to say. But if one of you was a player that came from before, but no, what he's saying is this, or what there's some clarity that could be created there, and there's some trust and some buy-in that could happen a lot quicker because there's people that have lived it. You're not just surrounded by brand new people, new coaching staff, new players, and nobody has experience with one another. It means a lot, not only what they could do on the field, but the things they do off the field as well.
On the defensive side of the ball, what are your expectations, and what has stood out to you about that side?
Yeah, so, you know, obviously last year we had a pretty good year on the defensive side of the ball, and I think that, you know, I think we only allowed over 300 yards of offense in 1 or 2 games. Obviously, this league, that will be a little bit different, but I do like the ability for these guys to come together and handle this playbook the way that they're doing it. You know, they get better each iteration of this, and, you know, we went from the winter into the spring, some of the summer. Here comes preseason, and I think they fully understand not only the scheme, but the big picture, and also starting to have a higher football IQ of what the offense is doing and how they're hiding things, but what are they actually getting to. Those things are all really important for that pre-snap thought process, you know, for our guys to be able to have that success of not only their job, which is entry level, but also what is the offense trying to do, what is my responsibility, how do we attack it.
How would you describe the 3 phases? The philosophy offensively, the philosophy defensively, the special teams that you want to instill in this program?
Yeah, well, the number one thing that I want to do is continually apply pressure, right? That's the thing that I like. Like our special teams, you know, if you went back and looked at our history of onside kicks or whatever, little trick things in there. That's all important. I think that we be able to steal a possession somewhere in games where we might have to do that. You get it, but it's got to be sound. And I think the thing between the special teams and defense and offense, there's a couple things fundamentally that travel through all three of those. And it's important for me that our coaches all speak the same language. The way I talk about tackling or pursuing a tackle on defense cannot be different than what the special teams position coach is saying, or be different than what the receiver coach is saying as far as, closing space and entering into a block. Those are all things that I think need to be, working together. But to me, offensively, we got to match our personnel, and we got to figure out exactly what they're good at and keep them out of the things that they're not. I love Coach Kennedy and Coach Smith, what they've done on the past years. We have had quarterbacks that have broken college records rushing. We've also had them that broken records at schools throwing. We've had all these different ways to work this offense into the strengths of our players, and that's what we must do here. And we have a good idea of that, and then we got to get out there in this preseason and just see exactly what sticks. Defense, we have to stay aggressive. We can't be simple. We have to be multiple. We got to play in a lot of different coverage shells and make sure that we're handling protections and attacking protections in our blitz game. So all those things are things that you got to get off the field on third down, right? That's important. But what type of third down are you dealing with? First and second is going to have a lot to tell you about what that third down looks like.
Clearly, one of the big stories in college football was Cignetti going to Indiana and implementing his system and the turnaround there. He was able to bring some players with him. I'm curious if you're able to take away anything from what he's been able to do at Indiana.
No, I think, and I don't know, I never talked to him about it, but I think the consistency that he had with his staff and some of his players, the consistency that we have with our staff and some of our players, I think it just helps with the learning curve of going to a new place, right? That there's familiar faces that understand the rhythms and understand how it all works. That's, I think, really, really important. But in the end, other than coming from JMU, the journey, though, D2, working FCS, that's all very similar as well. And I'm sure he gleaned a lot of lessons off of, those lower levels and understand there is no job too small and the attention to detail that comes with it. But ultimately, I got to stay true to who I am, first and foremost.
I want to ask you a little bit just about the change of locales. I mean, one thing that I thought was interesting, and when we talked on Big Ten today, right after you got the job, we were talking about this. I mean, we were saying you're in Newport, now Newport Beach, right? So, I mean, there's maybe some similarities, but it is, you're an East Coast guy, and your experience is on the East Coast. And I kind of wondered about, well, how will that translate into recruiting? Of course, you're having an unbelievable recruiting year, so maybe it's not an issue. Yeah. But the fact you are in a new region of the country.
Yeah, so I think for me, there's a learning curve that comes with that, and getting out. Like that's what I had to do right away. I had to get in this community as quickly as possible because there's a lot of no time. Forget about lost time. There's no time with them. So it wasn't going to be about the quantity of time we spent, but how can I make that time that we spent with them extreme quality? And that is something. We had 180 coaches, come from 3 different states to our free coaches clinic and spend the night and watch a practice the next day. I've been through every high school in Southern California that you could possibly imagine, Northern California, Seattle, Washington. I had to get out there and do these things because I had to start the relationship. And where does any relationship begin? At the start. So once we get it started, then how can I make it quality? And then how can I invite them in to be present at any practice so they can understand what their players are getting involved in with our program? And I think there's been a lot of, positives that have come from that, a lot of trust that's been built in a short period of time, and we need them, now more than ever.
It's been remarkable to see here early on. Just the job you've done on the recruiting trail has been commendable. Can't wait to see this team in action. Bob Chesney, welcome to the Big Ten.
Thank you, guys.
Great
Appreciate
to have you.
Yeah,
and we will